Good morning, Belgrade. It's Wednesday, midweek. Yesterday, the pensioners, people over 65, over the age of 65, were allowed to leave the house after 6 o'clock in the evening until a little bit after midnight. And I don't know about you guys, but I did see people out, and I felt really glad for them to finally be able to get out. And it was sunny still at 6 o'clock, so they could go out and actually see the parks, go and stroll around and check the windows of shops, which, you know, they wouldn't ordinarily be super interesting, but once you've been inside for more than 28 days, yeah, I'm sure anybody could find interest in that. Can you imagine once they went inside? I'm talking as if it's a prison. Once they locked themselves inside and stayed inside the house, it was still early, like semi-early March, mid-March, and nothing was in bloom. It was cold. It even snowed afterwards. And then now when they get out, like the first thing you see is like everything is in bloom, all the flowers, tulips, hyacinths, magnolias. I can only imagine the soul food of being able to see that the first thing you see. Someone said, "Thank God we're not doing this in November." Yeah, true. In November I would have been here as well. Last November. Which means that I would have stayed here over Christmas, which would have been my big holiday, like your Easter. Yeah. Even though November here was very beautiful. I was basically self-isolating in Stockholm before I came here for several months. All the time I walked outside of the house was to go grocery shopping and to walk to work, and sometimes bicycle to my other workplace. I now see that many epidemiologist experts in Sweden have asked for Tegnell to resign. And there's still, I don't know what the fudge is going on. Like nothing is going on. Profit over people. And it's really hitting them in the face. Perhaps it will come out as winners, but all of the old people that died and all of the people whose loved ones died will not come out as winners. And they think somehow, the regime obviously thinks that somehow that's acceptable loss. That's acceptable loss, because at least they didn't crash the economy. I was watching BBC the other day, and oh yeah, by the way, I'm sorry for Canadians in Nova Scotia and anybody who lost somebody in that shootout. Anyway, I was watching BBC News the other day, and I came across HardTalk, which I usually stay for because usually it's pretty good. This time they were grilling the World Health Organization. What is the alternative for the World Health Organization at this very moment? How is it appropriate to grill the World Health Organization at this particular moment? That's just sensation news. They were grilling them on knowing about the virus before coming out properly, and asking how can we be sure that the Chinese government gives accurate numbers? You can't. What do you think the World Health Organization is? What do you think they do? What they do is get expert information, put it together, and come up with recommendations that you can or cannot follow. As a country and as a regime in a country, that is your privilege. So, finding that as a scapegoat. I just turned it off. It was such a waste of time. It didn't even get me pissed off. It was just a waste of time. Anyways, today is gonna be a lovely day. It's gonna be filled with ice cream for moi. And it's gonna be... I found secondhand and thrift stores open yesterday. So I think I'm gonna go raid through them. I'm super curious about seeing what people leave behind, so to speak, what they give up, which means at some point in life here they have bought this stuff. Thrift stores and secondhand stores are also something that tells us about modern culture. If you know how to look the local culture, I mean modern local culture. Yesterday, while scouting through comments, it occurred to me that this channel has more than 1,000 subscribers. And YouTube states 1,000 subscribers in 28 days. So during the quarantine period, this channel has gained 1,000 subscribers, and that's just the subscribers. I mean, me personally, I don't subscribe to anything because I don't want a constant reminder of something. I remember to do stuff myself some of the time, which does explain why there's, you know, like thousands of views for each video. It's I'm looking for a word between amazing and ridiculous. There's one video which has more than 20,000 views. That's ridiculous. But that must have been a one and only video recommended to people with Serbian IP addresses. I don't know. And how do Serbian people outside of Serbia find this channel? How did you find this channel? And yeah, how did you find this channel? So about 7 days ago, the borders of Uusimaa, the Helsinki district, was opened again. And if people were wondering why so soon, you can only, like I said before, the legislation of Finland is very, very strict. You cannot change the constitution, and you cannot restrict people from moving around. Curfews are out of the question, unless an extreme situation occurs, and the health department determined that this is not extreme enough. So, and the threat is not extreme enough for that. So they opened the borders again, and the borders are open in Helsinki. So should I fly to Helsinki, I can move around in Finland. Just FYI.